Previously on our Tropic Thunder Adventure, because it was his idea to take this trail. And the plan was to meet him in Malangani.
My arm's got no strength.
I find myself wondering if he knows where we are. Our mate Gaz the giant man baby going to be okay? Now that was a little concerning for Bingus Khan.
I got the world's most expensive oil.
Thanks, Kubing.
Like a dog shut up the bum.
Should we go back?
No! Because this is Tropic Thunder! Queensland invasion. G'day everyone, Artist Wayne here. It's Wednesday morning. We've just left Kenilworth and just take a look at where we are. Care of Bingus Khan. He thought it'd be a great idea to take this single track. Consider this, my fellow adventure riders. It's already so bloody hot and our bikes are fully packed for camping, so the odds of ending up like this were fairly high.
Do you want it? Back, probably easy to win that. Unless we lift the front up, move it across. Go back here, it's not going to move. Go back a bit more. I know we got this way. I didn't know, it's safer. What's going to bring the front around? Ready?
Look for a break.
There's a bit of a drop there.
Can you come up here, Ben?
Hang on, it's on my hand.
Okay.
Yep.
Just think, this is one of the lightest bikes in our group, so imagine how difficult it'd be to get the bigger bikes up. I mean, I'd be okay, because I'm a self-proclaimed gun rider. But what about the other boys?
What's the chicken track like? Seems to be alright, but let's walk it up.
Oh, and now they're looking at the f***ing chicken track. Like that's going to be easier for our adventure bikes.
Look, shit. You're going back.
And back we went. But do you think when we got ourselves back out to the main track, we stayed on it? No, we didn't. We just took one gnarly trail after another, each one ending the same way. But yet over and over we hoped for a different outcome. You know that's the sign of insanity, don't you? Some of these trails were so bumpy that things began falling off our bikes. Like Big Mick's GPS. Do you know how hard it is to balance a 200 kilogram bike on a gnarly track whilst bending over? The struggle is real, my friends. Big Mick was happy, and not just because he got his GPS back, but because he was riding the appropriate bike for these tracks.
Yeah, but if he has the right tool, for 5% of the time, he won't be only be hating at 20%, and for the wrong tool, he'll be hating at 100% for 20% of the time, whereas if he gets the other tool, he'll be hating at 60% of the time, and 20% of the time, he'll only be hating at half as much.
Wise words from our Bingus Khan. My fellow adventure riders, I cannot stress enough on how bloody hot it was. By now it was sizzling. Hell, I saw a heat wave and waved back. It was so bloody hot that Gaz the giant man baby farted just to get a little breeze. As we continued to take one crappy trail after another in our endeavour to cook ourselves. Anyhow, it may have taken a while, but the boys came to their senses and we began looking for a way out. I mean, if we wanted to make today's destination, we needed to get a move on. And where was today's destination, I hear you ask? Well, it's a town rich with history, brimming with real country charm. I'm talking about the small rural town called Linville. You know, the place right near Squirrel Creek State Forest. We don't have squirrels here in Australia, so I don't know who the named that place. Anyhow, at least now we were riding a main trail. We could now try and cool ourselves down. That's Rocket right in front of me riding his sexy BMW GS 800. His muffler's on the left-hand side of his bike and his tool tube is on the right-hand side. Currently it has a cap, but not for long. There you go, Rocket lost his cap and was making sure he still had his tools that he now had to wrap in his shirt and wedge it all in place with sticks. Us adventure riders, we really use ingenuity when we have to. And remember in the last episode when I mentioned we'd meet a local and we'd have a discussion about the Yowie, Australia's Bigfoot, and how he'd become a firm believer in the giant hairy ape-like creature stalking Australia's bush? Well, we were about to meet that legend, because there was one big hill climb between us and the information centre / museum in the small rural town of Jimna. All the boys did well getting up this gnarly hill, especially Bingus Khan, considering he ran all the way up. Look out, Jim, the crazy crew were now in town. There's no Yowie sightings around here.
Insist on Yowies on about Yowie. We're trying to forget about fucking Yowie. We're trying to get onto something real here, mate. That's Monsaldale Road. That's the road I'm going to send you down.
Oh, okay. Which one? Yeah. Which part?
Well, I think that's Monsaldale Road. That's there. I think it is by the look of it. Can you find on this thing where it says Monsaldale Road in English?
Okay, hang on. Can you spell it for me?
Monsaldale. Monsildale. Well, hello, he's got to Google it. I wanted to get it off that map.
Yeah, but once we get there...
Once you get there.
And once we get that up there, you'll see where it is compared to us. Hang on a sec. It's just calculating.
Morgan Road. Calculating.
Oh,
it's a calculator as well.
Righto. That's taken us to that road there.
I know where you are. You should get to Monsaldale Road in a minute.
Yeah, there.
Where's it go?
There's Monsaldale Road there.
Yeah, there it is there.
Yep.
That's the one. I'm sending it down. And you back up on the Morgan Road.
You know what? We're in trouble if you have to direct us to the main road from here.
I'm sorry. I didn't want you to go around the circle. Yep. Beautiful deer country. You should see lots of deer.
Nice.
Especially no Yowies?
Don't upset him.
See, you can throw him this prawn if you want.
Attend to this man, right, so that's it, and that'll you'll be into Linville well before dark, and for your enjoyable night.
What a great sport our mate from the Gender Information Centre was. Not only was he now a firm believer in the Australian Yowie, but his directions had us riding through some beautiful, pristine cattle country. But it wasn't all main trail riding. Oh no, we'd soon be turning off and hitting some sandy tracks with loads of water crossings. This was more like it. We now had the challenge of staying upright whilst riding our heavy adventure bikes through soft sand and water. And I'm pretty sure I heard a couple of the boys say they dropped their bikes on this track. But if no one's there to catch it on video, well, did it really happen? Because our mate Gaz the giant man baby, who I can normally count on for loads of action, was about to have his GoPro SD card fail. Days and days of footage lost, including one of us getting a flat tyre a kilometre from Linville. As for Santiago, well, he only turns his camera on for 10 minutes every second day. Thankfully, today was the day he'd use it. Anyway, it was basically up to me to carry the team. And if you're wondering who the poor bugger was that got the flat tyre, well, it was me. And I suffered for it. It was so f***ing hot when I had to change it. Thankfully, Gaz and Big Mick gave me a hand, but it still didn't stop me from wilting in the heat like a flower. I reckon I had a touch of sunstroke by the time I arrived in Linville. Anyway, that was ahead of us. At least we could cool down slightly as we made our way across these creeks. Well, before we knew it, we'd be arriving at our destination in Linville. Tucked away near the Benarkan State Forest, Linville is a small town in southeast Queensland that can be easily accessed from Brisbane, most of the Sunshine Coast and Toowoomba in under 2 hours. It's a beautiful town that comes alive every weekend due to its location right on the Brisbane Valley Rail Trail and during the Linville Heritage Festival each November. And Bingus Khan had organised our accommodation in the Linville Hotel, where incidentally you could win a hat through one of the beer promotions. And the boys wanted these hats bad.
Hey Rocket, did they just look at you and give it to you, or did you actually have to scratch it?
I scratched it.
Show me the proof.
What piece you run?
So, congratulations.
There it is. There it is. That's the smirk.
This is their country, but we haven't seen one.
Except for the one on the wall. We may not have seen any deer, but Santiago is becoming a firm believer in the Yowie.
He records what the guy said about the Yowie, that it's a fucking bullshit story.
Just before dinner, we had a welcome shower to cool things down. After having a mild case of sunstroke, I certainly needed cooling down. And the meals at the Linville Hotel were absolutely superb. We all had a great feed. Well, everyone except for Santiago.
Nothing.
Look the number.
Well, after raining all night here at Linville, today was absolutely perfect. And Gaz the giant man baby had been let loose with all the Linville Hotel stickers.
Feels like old days.
This is what happens when you let a giant man baby loose through the night. He goes sticker crazy.
Oh, Brendan didn't like his.
And just like that, we left beautiful Linville and were now hurtling towards Blackbutt for breakfast. And lucky for me, I was able to pick up a spare rear tube to replace the one I used yesterday. It's always wise to carry spare tubes. I mean, you'd have to be stupid not to. So in no time at all, we arrived at the Blackbutt Bakery for a quick bite to eat before fueling up and hitting the road once again because we had a big day ahead of us. Today we were leaving Queensland and riding back into good old New South Wales. And tonight we'd be getting the camp gear out and sitting around a fire because our destination was the Cypress Pine Campground in the Boonoo National Park. And guess what? The campground was right next to the Boonoo River. So it won't matter how hot it gets, we can go swimming. Although let's not get too excited too early. We all know what happens when we adventure ride. Especially adventure riding with our lead rider, bada boom bada bing, Bingus Khan. He has a great nose for sniffing out trails that can quite often get us in a lot of trouble. So of course it was only a matter of time before he sniffed out a trail that would give us trouble today. Here we go, this was the first trail Bing took in his endeavour to hijack the ride. Well, he doesn't go out of his way to hijack the ride, it's just how it naturally seems to happen. Actually, I must confess, this wasn't too bad a trail at all. I mean, it's always better to be riding dirt than stuck out on the crappy blacktop. Anyway, I'm sure if we give Bingus Khan time, he'll find us a more challenging trail. And not far down the road, he did. Now this was more like it, as our lead rider Bingus Khan found us some muddy mayhem. We were once again doing our morning workout whilst trying to keep our big adventure bikes upright. It was right here on this muddy hill that I found out that when a fully laden T7 gets out of control, you just become a helpless passenger. Well, wasn't I a lucky boy? I could easily have ended up like Gaz there. Speaking of Gaz, well, this is what his leg looked like today. Ouchie wawa. Clearly Gaz is one tough hombre because his f***ing leg looked almost ready to drop off. Anyway, I managed to stay upright, and that's the main thing as we continued on this fantastic but super slippery track. A track I must confess didn't really look like a track at all. It seemed more like we were riding through someone's farm, which always worries me, especially when I hear gunshots going off in the distance. This certainly was such a fantastic trail on such a glorious day. I for one would have been happy as a pig in if this track just kept going. But as usual, there's always a spanner thrown into the works. And said spanner came in the form of a gate sporting a sign which read private property. Trespassers will be shot. Now I must say there was a bit of discussion going on as to what we should do. I mean, I for one thought it was a no-brainer, only for the fact I don't want to be shot. So naturally I was all for turning around. But would we turn around or throw caution to the wind and put our lives on the line and ride through? Well, to find out, I'm afraid you'll have to wait for episode 5. So hit the like and subscribe button, because I'm artist Wayne Dowsent, and this is Tropic Thunder, Queensland Invasion.